Welcome to the Open Source Hub, Sustainability as a Second Language. I'm Heba Deredi, Professor of Education at the American University in Cairo. Module 1, titled Introduction to Sustainability, is the starting point to understand the concept of sustainability, why we need to act sustainably, and the main challenges that the world is facing. The module starts with a set of learning outcomes presented along with content, videos, and learning activities. As learners of the second language, you are at the core of these modules. That is why empowering you with the knowledge and skills related to sustainability is a real need to harness your present and plan for the future. Ready to start? Throughout this session, there's a focus on several main concepts such as sustainability, development, the pillars of sustainability, and the imbalance of sustainability. Keep an eye on these concepts as you go through the material. I'd like you to share your thoughts about the challenges and the dilemmas that the world is currently facing. I'll pause for a few seconds so you can think about it. If you're sitting with a group, share your responses and get somebody to speak on your behalf. Here are a few images that can give you a feel of the issues and challenges faced globally these days. Do you see any of these challenges related to the local context or maybe your region as well? Think about some solutions to these challenges. Let me give you a few seconds to think about that. Share your thoughts with the group and select a spokesperson to share your collective response. One way to solve these issues is through sustainability. Since some of you might be familiar with the term while others might not, I want you to take a few minutes to think on your own of what this term might mean. We can use actually Mentimeter as one of the tools that you can actually post your responses, and accordingly we'll be able to form a word cloud to show the most frequent responses that are entered. To give you a bit of context related to the term sustainability, all you need to do is look back at the actions and behaviors that we as individuals have been doing under the umbrella of industrialization. Starting from the first industrial revolution and onwards, more harm than good is happening around us. To help us move forward for a better quality of life, the term sustainable development appeared in 1987 with the publication of the Brundtland Report. Through the report, the term sustainable development is defined as development that meets the need of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Go to the key concepts and supplementary material for more details on the report and the definition. As we unpack what is meant by sustainability, you'll find that it relates to everything around you. With its 4-dimensional pillars, all you need to do is wear your sustainability lenses, and you'll find that it's related to environment, economy, society, and culture. Isn't that almost everything around you, current and future? To give you a clearer picture, go to the supplementary material again for further videos and readings. The 8 modules in this program will walk you through different areas of sustainability. To give you a feel of the impact we as humans have on the planet and our current and future quality of life, let me share some numbers. I'll take just one example, plastic. I'd like to ask you a few questions. How many items have you been using these days related to material from plastic? Do you think that these items can be replaced with materials different from plastic? You know the accumulative amount of plastic humans have used till this date? Humans have created billions of tons of plastic that have actually resulted into 822,000 Eiffel Towers. Can you imagine that? Unfortunately, plastic is not only the problem that we are facing in terms of the usage, but also it has so many environmental hazards. Let's take a closer look at the harms of plastic pollution and how it creates a cycle that impacts both the marine ecosystem and the human development as well. Let's take a look at the harms of plastic pollution and how it creates a cycle that impacts both the marine ecosystem and human health. Plastics are a versatile material, and this is why it's used in so many material and also in packaging as well. However, the very properties that make plastic usable because of its lightweight and its opportunity for being degradable. The problem gets worse as not only we use plastic, but it's also because every single year there's around 300 million tons of plastic that are being reproduced. They come from single-use bags, plastic bottles that actually accumulate so much it gets thrown into the oceans. Once in the oceans, the problem escalates, causing threats to the marine ecosystem. The toxic chemicals that come out of the plastic can actually harm the fish and everything around it, as they mistakenly think it's actually food. Once it gets to the fish, it definitely comes into our bodies as humans and start to actually use the seafood. Let's take another example. Air pollution comes from the emissions from the cars and the heavy traffic. They result in lowering the life expectancy. The WHO stated actually that 1 in 10 deaths in the MENA region is attributed to air pollution. With a rising number of cars and neglecting simple practices such as carpooling adds up to the rising problem. It is estimated that the number of cars around the world will actually rise to 1 billion in 2023. Look around other examples in your context, and maybe you'll be able to think about the negative impacts that you can do, and probably stop to do, that can get us into a better quality of life. With the growing number of the world's population, problems related to sustainability will actually persist. Resources will be consumed even more and will produce even more waste. Now, what I want you to do is put yourself in the driving seat. Think about your response to this question. Are your actions sustainable? Go to the reading section to calculate your ecological footprint. How does it look like? Isn't it time for change? To ensure that we have taken into consideration the processes and pathways to achieve sustainability, we are putting them on the path of sustainable development. I'd like you to watch the video where you can get a little bit more understanding of what sustainable development means.
Sustainable development. Everybody's talking about it. But what do those two words really mean? Let's take a couple of minutes to see what sustainable development is all about. The idea first emerged in the late 1980s as a response to the world's growing social and environmental problems. With globalization, the inequality gap between rich and poor countries is widening every day, and the projections for population growth are alarming. How are we going to feed a total of 9 billion people in 2050? How can we offer everyone access to clean drinking water, healthcare, education? How can we protect biodiversity and take concrete action against climate change? How can we make sure that industrial development means progress for everyone? The proposed solution was a new kind of development, or rather a variation of the traditional model called, quite simply, sustainable development. The term was officially defined in 1987 as part of the preparations for the Rio Earth Summit. Sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Does that sound a little abstract to you? Let's put it this way. Sustainable development means that growth must be accomplished with respect for nature and humankind. And where is sustainability achieved? Right here at the crossroads of economic goals, social responsibility, and environmental protection. Now, are you wondering whether a company can combine respect for the environment, social equity, and commercial success? Well, the answer is yes. Not only that, but sustainable development creates value. Here's how. Upgrading production tools to use less energy and water is good for the environment and for the pocketbook. Offering eco-designed products and packaging that use just what's necessary saves materials and reduces shipping costs. Paying attention to employees, improving their quality of life at work, and helping them develop their skills all serve to strengthen their engagement. And stronger employee engagement means better overall performance. Creating products that are accessible to the world's poorest populations means opening new markets, the ones whose populations are going to grow the fastest between now and 2050. Monitoring the working conditions offered by suppliers and subcontractors means minimizing risks that could damage the company's image. As you can see, sustainable development affects just about everything. More and more companies today understand that they have important economic, social, and environmental responsibilities and are committed to making a difference. The ones that seize this opportunity to create value will find that their success is, in a word, sustainable.
To help decide if an action is sustainable or not, ask these questions. Is it environmentally sustainable or viable over long term? Is it economically sustainable, maintaining or improving living standards over the long term? Is it socially sustainable now and in the future? This three-legged stool, environmental, sustainable, economical, and social sustainability, are equally important as we cannot give weight to one over the other. It will just cause an imbalance, something that we do not want. Let's discuss these three areas of sustainability one by one, especially as each one of these pillars relate to our daily lives. The first thought that comes to mind when we think about the topic of sustainability is the environment. This is mainly because sustainability originally developed from concerns related to human actions affecting natural ecosystems. Early environmental movements in the 20th century raised awareness of how industrialization, deforestation, pollution, and the overusage of natural resources were damaging the planet. These concerns led to the development of sustainability as a framework for reducing the humanity's ecological footprint. In the field of education, environmental education was introduced way before education sustainable development. When we think about the environment, we are actually tackling a couple of the main problems around us, some of which could be the conservation of natural resources, protection of the natural habitats, usage of eco-friendly products, reducing pollutants, ensuring the air and water quality, reducing waste generation, and ensuring correct waste disposal methods. Let's have a look at what economy means as another pillar of sustainability. Economy does not just refer to having or making more money. It actually refers to the actions that are economically sustainable. An example, having enough money to maintain a reasonably high quality life has it over the long term. Let's move on to the third pillar, social equity. Social equity is all about fairness of opportunity and access to resources for those who need it the most. Equality is about ensuring that this access to these resources differs based on the people's needs and status, whether that is access to clean environments, health services, or even quality education. Maintaining a balance among all these three aspects is called the triple bottom line, or abbreviated by TBL. We'll talk more about this in the next session. Actually, countries that have tried to focus on one of these three pillars, such as focusing on improving economic sustainability, should not be at the expense of social or environmental sustainability. China is just an example where the health issues emerge on the expense of the economic sustainability. So think about how we can combine social and economic and environmental, and social and environmental. Even if we do so, none of these actually reflect true sustainability. Here are a few case studies for you to think about. Decisions to develop a vacant lot into a parking lot or a community park, building a new toll road to reduce traffic, establishing a fine for households not separating their waste, banning single-use plastics, opening a new resort on the beach, or requiring all supply chain providers to implement human rights standards. Do you think that they are all sustainable? Discuss more with your groups, justifying your responses. In cases when the balance is not made amongst the three E's, there are unintended consequences. Go through the reading section for you to know more. As we come to the end of section 1, recap on the main concepts presented throughout the session. Think of a project that has recently been implemented at your university, your community, or even at your workplace? Did it take into consideration the 3 E's of sustainability? Who were the main actors that the issue affects? Which actors have jurisdiction over where the 3 E's are met? Finally, revisit the learning objectives at the beginning of the session to check your understanding. Go through the material and provided videos and readings to extend your knowledge even further. Describe 3 takeaways, 2 questions, and 1 thing you enjoyed during the session. See you in session 2.